Have you ever been so impacted by something that it leaves no doubt as to what helped shape you? Welcome to The Blind Impact, a podcast where we talk about and uncover those moments. Some funny, some sad, but it's not always tragic. I hope you'll stay for a while. Hey Tomas, how you on?
Yes, I am. How are you?
Oh, hey, good. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well.
Good, good. Well, let me see here.
It is time.
It is time. So, Tomas, what, if anything, is there that you'd like to share with the audience about who you are, without telling your story, of course, but just a few things about who Tomas is?
Well, let me see. Tomas is husband and a father, a brother, two younger sisters. Um, I'm a ex-felon, so
Okay,
just put that out there. That's the way. That was the hand that I was dealt. So I just played that the best that I could. Um,
sure.
I'm pretty much laid back. I don't really do too much socializing like I used to. But other than that, I mean, level headed, clear minded. I try to see things for the best, but at the same time, I won't take no BS.
Right, as you shouldn't. How many siblings you said you have?
I have two younger sisters.
Sisters. Oh wow, sisters.
Hmm.
How was that coming up?
I mean, um, it's been a path, I guess. I mean, I've had my differences with the both of them. We've all had our differences. We've had
Right.
our bouts of not communicating. Um, Sometimes it all works itself out without the necessary, I guess, wanted apologies that some people desire. I mean, we're all pretty far apart right now. Um,
Okay.
we all grew up together, but there were certain points where we weren't all together. So once we all got back together, I mean, it was just survival mode, and
Mhm.
I give all the props to my mom for holding everything down the way that she did, because I give her credit for sending three kids to college by herself. So I, I give my mom a lot of props for what she's accomplished as far as us three, given the things that happened.
Yeah, definitely.
It's I mean, she doesn't really look at it the way that I guess I do. I look at things really differently than I guess most people do.
Okay.
But
Right.
she's asked me over the years, did she do a good job? And I guess I never really thought how much, some a parent would need that verbal reinforcement as to how they did as a parent. But I'm seeing that with my own son now. I ask him all the time,
Mm.
am I doing a good job? How am I doing? What can I do better? Because I don't want to be perceived as a bad dad or a
Mhm.
dad that could have done more.
So, what's his response to you when you ask that?
I mean, it's always good. I mean, my son is amazing. He when I'm not having a great day, he'll come down. This morning, for example, he came and I just felt like he needed a hug. So I just came down and gave you one. And
Oh,
I appreciate that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's that type of kid.
wow.
Knowing how I am for those type of reactions to come from my child, I
Mhm.
must be doing something right. So
Mhm. Yeah, I'd have to agree for sure. Definitely have to agree. So your mom, like, currently, like, she's still, does she still ask you those questions like today?
um, I've gotten to the point where sometimes within our conversations, I'll just throw it in.
Oh,
We
okay, good.
talking about random stuff, and I'll tell her, you did a good job. You put 3 kids, and all of us are contributing to society in some type of way. So
Wow.
that's something to be proud of. I mean, I know she probably wants me to be making $1 million or something like that, but I would like that too. But I mean, dreams are dreams, and this is what you make of them. But I just
Right.
want her to always feel like she didn't let us down in any type of way because she sacrificed a whole lot just for us to get to where we are.
Jeez. 3 kids alone. Wow. Yes. Definitely something that she should look at as, I mean, I know it's kind of hard, like, as a parent to say, oh yeah, like, pat yourself on the back, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but you guys are obviously, from what you're saying, or you're proof of her doing a good job with circumstances. So hopefully she can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I wanted to really just um, express is the effects of domestic abuse
Okay.
and how that can, um, affect everyone that's involved in it. Uh,
Sure. So that's your story today.
that's the story. I mean, it's a lot of people out there that go through, domestic abuse, and I mean both
Wow.
ways, men and women, but more so women. And there's a lot of instances where the women won't leave, don't leave, or go back. And I guess it's all out of fear for um, not feeling safe, not being alone, not having something familiar. And that was all of the things that, I guess that we went through. Uh, I was like in the fourth grade, I guess, when it first happened. And it was it was almost surreal. Like, this isn't happening right now. I can remember that as a kid, but I remember my mom screaming, telling them to stop. And a lot of it was a blur, I guess. But I remember how my mom looked at the end of it, when the cops came and
Okay.
took him away. And I was glad that he was gone, but I remember the cop telling my mom that he'll probably be out in a day or two. So they ended up
Oh
telling
no.
us about this shelter, and we took one of the cars and went to this shelter. I guess I'm not gonna get a location of where it is. It's probably
Sure.
not there anymore. But
Okay.
we went there, and the only thing that I can compare it to, as an adult, we get there and it was like check in at a jail at Lucid or whatever.
Oh.
And, we they take our names, and it's like we get booked in, and they take us to a room, and it's three of us. It's my two sisters and my mom. So we out in the room with two beds. So we, I guess, sat there for the night. I didn't get much sleep. Went and had breakfast. Saw a few people, and everybody was like looking at me weird because this is a woman's shelter. And I guess my age was the only thing that allowed me to stay, because I think I was like right at the threshold or something. But we ended up going to this summer camp, and we never took the car. The car always stayed at the shelter. So we would catch the bus to the camp, stay there all day, and then me and my sister would catch the bus down to my mom's job until she got off work. So my youngest sister's dad is the man that caused us to be displaced. He got his sister to follow me and my sister down to my mom's job. So she ended up getting the location of the shelter and the car. She gets the car, and we come out the next morning and we see that the car is gone. So we're all panicked, like, oh, he knows where we are. He knows where we are. And the shelter like set off all these alarms, like, oh, y'all got to go. The location's been compromised. Y'all can't be here. So it was it was a rush to like get us out of there because they didn't want nothing to happen to us and they didn't want anything to happen to the women that were there.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to this other shelter, and that one had very strict rules as how much they would allow males in the facility.
Okay. We're gonna go back to the top where you're talking about your sister's father.
Okay, so he had his sister follow us from summer camp
Mm-hmm.
to my mom's job, and then she followed us from my mom's job to the shelter so he could
Okay.
get the car back. So the next morning, we come out to get on the bus, and we see that the car's gone, and it's a big panic going on, and everybody is okay. Well, you guys have to go because the location's been compromised. So they moved us to this other shelter that was kind of down the street, I think, and this was during the summertime, so there was no school for any of us. That was probably the only easy thing about the whole transition.
Okay.
But it was like the type of fear that you would feel in a movie where people on the mother and kids are on the run and the husband is hunting them down. That's real. Like we literally felt that, and you know, we didn't know what this dude was wanting to really do. So it was a rush to get us out of the shelter and into our own place, so it wouldn't be, I guess, any kind of bad things happening because we didn't know what was going through his head because he wanted his daughter back. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember how he got her, but he did. So my mom was kind of toe up about not having her, and that's what ultimately led us to going back.
Oh.
So
Do you kind of feel like he knew that would bring your mom back?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
because he knew that we didn't have none of the things that we were used to having.
Mm.
So I mean, I don't know why he wanted her to come back. I don't understand the thoughts of a man that just wants to torment someone like that. Or why
Mm-hmm.
you just want to put your hands on somebody that you supposedly care about and are trying to build something with.
Right.
Because I can remember when they were talking and she had him over and she asked me and my other sister, "Do y'all want him to be our daddy?" And it was like, to say that out loud is a very weird thing to say to your kids, but how else do you say that to your kids to get their approval, I guess.
Sure.
And I guess we were just wanting to have somebody there. And
Mm-hmm.
we both were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He seems like he cool, he nice, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, people have demons,
Well.
and you know, wolves hide in sheep's clothing just to terrorize the flock.
Mm-hmm.
And
They do.
that's exactly what he did. And I remember when we moved to a house, and my room was at the back of the house, and my sister's room, they shared the biggest room in the middle, and my mom and him, there was a door, and you could see straight across through every room. And I remember waking up one morning and seeing him on top of my mom, like in the bed just wailing on her. And
Mm-mm.
I heard her scream and stop, stop, stop. And I opened my door and I looked across and I see this and I'm just like went and I had my other door to my room led into the kitchen. I went and grabbed 2 knives and I was finna kill him. That's what, was on my mind to protect my mama.
Mm-hmm.
And both of my sisters saw me and like they tackled me. I don't even know to this day how they did that. But they both remember that whole situation and like they tackled me and I was like crawling trying to get them off of me. And I got up and I made it to the hallway right in front of their room and he got off my mom and stood in front of me, looked at me like, "What you gonna do?" And like slapped me and he slapped me in my head so hard, like on my ear. Like how they do on those slap competitions now. That's how
Mm-hmm.
he hit me. And pretty much slumped me and I slid down the wall. So, I'm like a fifth grader at that point, I think. And I mean, I don't remember too much of what happened after that, but that wasn't the first time he like laid his hand on me like I was a teenager, a young adult. Like he was hitting me like I was his equal almost. So
Right.
uh there was times where he would hit me for not doing what he said. Don't be outside with shoes on. And my sister was out there riding a bike and the chain popped off. So I go down the sidewalk to put the chain back on and I rode it back up to the house. He comes down the driveway and I tell you not to be outside with no shoes on. I said I was fixing the bike. Bow! Slapped me upside the head again. So then I went into the house and I went and grabbed my bat. Cause I was really like tired of it at that point. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like dealing with him no more. I felt like retaliating. I grabbed my bat. He met me in the highway again. What you gonna do with that? Grabbed my arm and like twisted my arm, like just folded it back. And to this day, shoulder still ain't right. But it was just
Mm-hmm.
the matter in which he handled me. I never handled a child like that. And it wasn't too long after that where he with my mama again. And it was worse than the first. Like she was swole up pretty bad. Like nose busted, lip busted, mouth busted up, eye swole, just she was bad. And we left and went back to the same shelter. And it wasn't too long. It was in the middle of the school year, toward the end of the school year. So I ended up having to go to this other school and it was different. I didn't want to be there no more. I was tired of having to go
Mm-hmm.
through what I was going and then it was a point to where when I went back to my initial school, I didn't really I don't know, it was different
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to share what was going on. Because it was I was ashamed of the situation. I didn't
Wow.
want nobody to know that we was living in a shelter or these clothes that I got on mine, they don't fit, and as much as that whole that moment, those moments changed, I guess, the path that we were on. And I can't necessarily say the path that we were on was a good one, because the path that we ended up on, I mean, they could have been less favorable.
Mhm.
So it was a matter of my mom just getting everything in order, getting everything together, because I was still excelling in school. I mean, I was in like this youth engineering program that I couldn't stand to go to. And good enough that, I guess smart enough that the school secretary wanted to, she knew there was something in me where she wanted to challenge me.
Mhm.
And all of the people that along the way saw something within me and still gave me the nudge and the push to do more. Like, don't settle for what's right in front of you. See if you can get a little bit more.
Mhm.
And I admire all those people, because I try to instill that same type of attitude in my son. But
Wow.
the way that, my mom took control of that situation and didn't let it control her,
Mhm.
I mean, is admirable, because it's so many that just stay and deal with getting beat on their whole
Yep.
life.
Yep. They do. They do. Was there ever a point like I mean, I guess you can only attempt to fight as a woman, a male, so much. But was there ever a point where she just lost it and just, I mean, just wanted to just, I don't want to say kill him because I don't imagine that was like her thought, and I don't know if she expressed any of that to y'all, but
No, I don't think that she felt like harming him. I think that she wanted him to heal, because she felt like he was hurting from something so much that he needed. I don't. We had many
wow.
conversations about, she was upset with me for years for not forgiving him. And I told her, I said, why would I ever in my entire life of breathing breath forgive that man for putting us through what we went through? Because to this
Mhm.
day, I still don't feel like he was remorseful for what he did. I mean, there were points where, my mom felt like she needed him to be involved in my younger sister's life. She didn't want to have him like not involved in any kind of way. She didn't want to, I guess, she didn't want it to be like that. And that was her choice totally. I mean, we didn't we lived where we lived, and he was where he was at, doing whatever he was doing.
Okay.
But it was a matter of,
Wow.
when stuff would happen with me, she would call him. And
Uh-oh.
I'm looking at her like, he ain't my daddy,
Yeah.
and that's because, I mean, when he was stepdaddy, I gave him that respect. You know, I wanted
Sure.
you to treat me like I'm your stepson. I wanted to have a father figure, because I didn't have a father figure growing up.
Mhm.
I have two memories of my actual father,
Oh.
and the first one was when I was 5. He bought me a little bike that I tore up within a few weeks. Like, the tires were, I don't know what they were made of, but I mean, I wore them tires out in no time, and I never saw him again after that, until I was about, I might have been 30, maybe
Oh.
close to 30, and my my god sister, her mom went to school with him,
Mhm.
and when his mom died, she stayed down the street from them. So they called me and told me, ain't Crow your dad? I said, yeah. he over here at the trap house.
Uh
Say what?
oh.
So it was the curiosity within me of seeing if I even resembled him. Uh, I just wanted to see what he looked like,
Okay.
and I went over there, and I didn't know these dudes in the trap. I went in. I said, "Hey, Crow in there? Yeah, he in the back." I said, "Man." So I already know what it means when they say you in the back. What you doing? So I say, "Man, this can't be real, man." Like, okay. So I go outside and he come out, and I'm looking at him like, "You really just you coming down off of doing a line or doing a whatever y'all doing there, man?"
Mm.
So he looked at me and he looked at me like he was, I guess, happy to see me or happy I was there. And I mean, I'm looking at him just really puzzled because I didn't understand. I said, "Man, I done been in the newspaper. I done been in the news, and you ain't never took the time to see what I'm about. Nothing. Well, how you doing in life? What's going on now?" And da 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 da. Because it was, I mean, it was disappointing to say the least. I mean, I guess I didn't have much expectations when it came to him,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess that was a chapter that I needed to close.
And did
And
you?
I mean, I'm good.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
how can you miss something that you never had?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the attitude that I've always carried as far as him.
Wow.
And I mean, my mom, she went. I don't believe there was any domestic abuse going on with him and my mom, but I know that the other two men, the fathers of my other two sisters, I know it did with them. But when I was 5 when my other sister was born, and I was 8 when the youngest was born.
Okay.
And from 8, that's when, like, my mom she started running and trying to get away from it. And I know that it was all for us because she didn't want us to have to see her go through that.
Mm-hmm.
But we let me see, I made it to middle school, and I mean, it was pretty much start over point, and we I guess we was in a rough part of the city.
Okay.
Cause I mean, we stayed in some apartments where, it was a lot of gang activity, it was a lot of drugs being sold. I mean, when cars would pull in to get the drugs, it's about 6, 7 dudes running to a car.
Ooh.
So yeah, it was like that. So when when tempers flare, when somebody steals somebody customer, what they do, they start shooting. And we was we dealt with that for, man, about 5, 6 years maybe. I was a junior when one of them bullets came through the window and lodged in the wall of my room. It went over. My sister was sitting on the couch. It went over her head, and I was sitting in the corner in my room, and it hit the wall like right where I was sitting.
Oh my
So
goodness.
at that point, my mom was like, "We got to get out of here." So then we moved to a not so busy suburb that was still kind of developing. And
Okay.
I mean, it was cool out there, I guess. I mean, but I had, made some friends in
Mm-hmm.
those apartments. And I figured out a way to get by, make it and survive. Well, then nobody really
Mm-hmm.
mess with us like that. But I learned a lot in those rough areas and
Uh-huh.
how to navigate these streets and how people are. Because I mean, that's the only, I guess, method of survival that I had was those apartments. Growing up in that rough part of because That's when apartments would be rivals. And
Oh.
yeah, it was like this was all new to me. I didn't grow up in that, so once I was inserted into it, it's like so we beefing with the apartments that's next door.
So.
Like so the rooftops on their apartments are red and the buildings over here are blue, so that's a beef.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
just really stupid things when you really sit down and just think about it and say it out loud.
Right.
So we got away from that, and I ended up graduating. And at graduation, I remember saying to myself, "Man, I'd be grateful to see 21. If I make it to 21, man, I did it. I made it."
Oh goodness.
And I'm pretty much uh I ain't gonna say the man of the house. I guess figuratively speaking, I am. But
Mhm.
it was I did all of the stuff that I guess the man was supposed to do. Something break, I fix it. You know,
Mhm.
if something physical need to be done, I do it. I made sure that the dudes in the neighborhood wasn't trying to get at my sisters every opportunity they had. I'm like, I told them straight up, no, don't don't do that. Like that's not the play. So
Oh. And you're at this point. At this point, you've already graduated. So what? You're like 18, maybe almost 19, somewhere in there.
mhm.
20. Okay. So the stress level. Like, did you recognize that you could have that there was stress there, or it was just something that you just knew you just it just you had to do?
I didn't recognize it then. It was just did what my mama told me
Mm-hmm.
because she got us this far.
Goodness, that is.
Why would I? Why would I? I mean, it was points where I wanted to go have fun and hang with my homeboys. Like she wouldn't let me do nothing almost. So
Wow.
it was a matter of okay, if I can get away with it, if I can sneak out,
Mhm.
hey, I get to experience this.
Mhm.
Sneaking out lasted a few times, but hey, she gonna get hip to it pretty quick.
Of course.
Sister's gonna start snitching. And I remember, hey, snitches get stitches, man. Y'all stay out my business, stay out my room. And that's when I started wanting to be a teenager. That's where the differences came between me and my sisters. Like
Oh.
I'm like, man, y'all need to stay over there because I remember telling them uh everything was good before y'all came along. Like I was, at that time I was serious. I was man. I remember I used to get everything. I had piggy bank full of money. Like y'all come in and just mess up everything. It became, Christmas. My mama pulled off one of the greatest Christmases that I think I've ever had. Like
Wow.
it was truly a surprise because there was one or two where it wasn't too much under the tree.
Mhm.
But I ain't gonna be the one to sit there and be like, "Where is everything?"
Right.
But it was one Christmas where my sisters got a whole lot of gifts, and I didn't get too much. So for a year, I plotted and planned. I said, "I'm finna clean up this next Christmas," and I told them, "I said, y'all gonna be mad. Y'all gonna be mad next year. Wait to Christmas." And I told them for almost a whole year, wait to Christmas, wait to Christmas. And every time my mom would be like, "I'm going to the mall. I'm going to get stuff for the girls. You're not getting anything, so you don't have to go if you don't want to." Nah, I go. And I would tag along. And I'd be in there. "Oh, look at this, mom. This on sale. Look at this. Ooh, look at this." And I'm just, I'm getting all the little knick-knack type of stuff. Just to make it all add up. So when it came time for mama to wrap them gifts the night before Christmas, she was working overtime on mine. So Christmas morning come, and I remember she put all them gifts out. So I remember I woke up early and I was just sitting. They came out their room. I took the smallest gift that I had because I pretty much knew everything that I was getting. And I sat back and watched my sisters open their gifts. They was done in about 10 minutes. I said, y'all ready for this? So they was like visibly mad at
Mhm.
and asking my mom, why he getting so much? Why he getting this? But I was spiteful like that.
Mm.
That's just I guess that was me feeling neglect
Oh wow.
in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
probably not as severe as it sounds, but I mean, I wanted some give me some attention too.
Sure. Yeah. I
And
can see that.
I I started I got in the band probably in elementary and was kind of floating around different instruments until I started playing the drums.
Okay.
And I was pretty good at that. And went to the city and regionals, I think.
Oh wow.
But it was a I guess a competition between them, me and my sisters. But it led to me wanting more.
Like when you say competition, like as far as like between your mom and your sisters, and you.
Hmm.
Okay.
Cause I
Okay.
felt like she gave them all the attention
Okay. Probably.
because she felt like she got me to the point to where I could fend for myself,
Mhm.
and I could because I mean it was times where I felt like, dang, I'm over here and ain't nobody's here, and I wanted somebody to be there. Like I have I have siblings,
Mhm.
but I don't have anything in common with them. I don't want to go play with dolls.
Okay.
I
You're
don't want to
right.
play house. You know, I want to play with girls my age. I want to hang with my homeboys, go play basketball, football,
Mhm.
race in the street, play curb ball, whatever, anything aside from sitting in the house.
Watching your sisters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once I wanted to do more athletic stuff. I mean, I did the football thing, but there was stuff going on with football that didn't allow me to do it. So I started running track.
Okay.
And I guess the one thing with that is it got me a scholarship to college.
Nice.
And uh, I got to, travel and see parts of the country that I had never seen before, or probably would never see without doing that.
Mhm.
And I wanted my mom to be at every track meet, like every track meet, because I had, teammates whose parents were at every track meet. And I'm like, come cheer for me too. Because there really wasn't nobody that was there to cheer for me. So she came to the first track meet and I did terrible at the first one.
Mhm.
And she came to probably two more, maybe in high school. And I know she came to probably two when I was in college. And she brought my grandma to one of those track meets. And at that meet, when she brought my grandma, that's when I qualified for nationals. So that was like a real feel good moment for me because I didn't even know that my grandma was there
Oh wow.
until I'm warming up for my race and I'm doing block starts and I jog down the track and I see my grandma in a wheelchair on the edge waving at me.
Aw.
So like that whole rush of a good feeling, like that's why I wanted my mama to be there.
Jeez.
So I
Wow.
never really expressed to her about how her absence fueled me while I was competing and how it got me through. But because I didn't want to feel, I didn't want to make her feel bad
Jeez.
um, about anything that. that had happened or what I was doing. But
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, like, just her, just does she ever know how you felt at any point?
that's the
Um,
thing. I've told her, but it's like I have to give constant reinforcement.
mm,
And in my head, it's like, well, damn, didn't I told you this already. Like, why are you still questioning, like, what is really going on in your mind?
mm-hmm, yeah,
Like, you shouldn't even really be worried about us like that no more unless we call.
yeah.
Like, enjoy life. We're not a burden anymore.
Were you ever though? Is that how you feel?
Uh, I can't necessarily say that that was how I felt, but
That's how you felt.
when you achieve freedom from having to take care of something, it's a sense of relief.
Sure.
That's a natural feeling for anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, unless your mom has actually told you that, you know what I mean. I don't think you want to feel like that, and because it's like as a parent, right? Like it's not you. It's a choice to have those kids, right? So
Yeah.
you can't feel burdened down by that. And I bet if you sat down and you talk to her and you give the same comment to her, I don't believe that she is going to agree with that, because it's joyous, and kids are tough. Kids are tough. They're hard,
Yep.
but a burden. I don't think she'd. I don't feel like she'd feel that way. So, but that'd be a good conversation for you to have with your mom one day if you feel like talking about it.
I'm pretty sure I probably said that to her before, and she's probably, you know, said no, that's not the case. I mean,
Yeah,
we've had a lot of just conversations about stuff over the years, and a lot of it becomes a blur as you get older.
sure, sure.
And it's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten, and I guess some of it is probably for the good because you don't just want bad memories to just fester in your head. So
Yeah, you don't want.
it's I guess it's a challenge to look at things in a positive light constantly. For me, there are some people that are
Mhm.
just happy all the time. You know, and then I mean, I get they the perception that's the perception that they want everybody to see. But I mean, I guess I'm reflective of how I'm feeling at times,
Mhm.
and I've learned to um try to get it under control a little bit better. Uh, they diagnosed me. I ain't gonna say diagnosed,
Mhm.
but I've had therapists suggest anger management issues, um, anxiety.
Sure.
Um, I mean, I guess all these the the way that they just label feelings,
Mhm.
thoughts. It's not always comfortable to just expose yourself to that, but to just have clarity on what you're
Why?
thinking about stuff.
Yeah. So do with them kind of giving you a possible reasons or explanations as to why you could have been feeling the way that you felt. Do you feel like accurate? Like,
Um, yeah, I, I guess they are pretty accurate because I wasn't able to put my finger on what it was
mm-hmm,
all these years.
yeah,
So I guess it's a relief to have somebody, let you know what's wrong with you
sure,
or how and why you're thinking the way that you think.
right,
Because I talked to my sister about talking about this,
mm-hmm.
and they've encouraged me to talk about it for a very long time.
Oh, well, that's
And
good.
I've my wife knows, about my life.
Uh-huh.
There aren't it's probably one or two of my friends that know. Uh, but the majority of people that I know and that know me don't know the story that I'm telling right now. And she's encouraged me to talk about it for years, and I just didn't really care to share the story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in light of the things that are going on in the news with, uh, I guess celebrities and the things that they're doing, and how people question it, because when I see these type of allegations and stuff in the news and on the internet, it's a reminder of what I seen,
Right. Yeah, it's a very real
and
thing.
I mean my heart goes out, because some people just don't know what to do. They feel like that person that they're involved with is the only person that matters. Like they feel like that's their world. Like they've been brainwashed.
Ooh.
And I don't really associate with people that, put their hands on women
Mm-hmm.
or physical toward they significant other. I mean, I don't really like it. The one thing that I can say that my sister's dad taught me was what not to be. Like that was he gave me examples of everything I didn't want to be as a man. And I took that to heart. And I told him that I've had me and him have had our face to face standoff. Um my grandmother passed. I was, man, I can't even remember how old I was. I might have been 22, maybe 23. And we go down to the country for the funeral. And I'm I was my grandmother's favorite grandchild. I don't care what any of the other grandchildren have to say. I was the favorite,
Oh, wow.
and I wanted to be sitting on the front row at the funeral, and they put me on the second row, and I was like bothered. But I said, "Why y'all got me back here with the kids?"
Uh-oh.
So I sat down, and I'm looking at my grandmother in the casket, and it's it's hard to look at to just see her like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the funeral has started, and it's maybe 30 minutes after the funeral has started. Here come my sister's stepdad. Come in, sit down in the front row next to my mama. And I'm at that point my blood starts boiling. Cause for one, I feel like, why are you here? And cause far as I knew, my grandmama didn't like him. And I
For
just
good
feel like
reason.
he was out of line. One, for showing up, two, sitting on the front row. And
Wow.
they wanted me to be a pallbearer. I had to decline because I didn't feel like I was up to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were bringing her out, and I'm standing outside like just crying uncontrollably. And he came over to me and put his arm around me, and I immediately like I pushed him in his chest so hard, like I didn't want him touching me.
Mm-mm.
And I told him, "Get your hands off me! Don't touch me! Why you even here?"
Mm.
I said, "Don't touch me no more." I said, "I ain't gonna tell you again." Like I was at that point, I was on 10,
Yeah.
and my uncle's wife, she came and grabbed me, and she was probably the only person that could have de-escalated that, because I was ready to go. Because in my head, I was like, I'm not a little kid no more. I'm not 9. Like you dealing with a grown man. I was an all-American athlete. I was in shape. I'm in the gym every day. Come on, old man,
Oh, goodness.
try that with me now. And that was the first confrontation. The second one was uh It might have been, man, it was at my uncle's house. I know we was watching the Tyson fight. And my uncle was barbecuing, and I'm laying in the living room floor eating, and here he come through the front door. So I look up like, what the hell is he doing here? So I go in the kitchen. I'm talking to my uncle like, you hanging with him? Like y'all kicking it? I said, he used to whoop your sister. You kicking it with him? So at that point, I was ready to fight my uncle. Because I in my head, I'm like, if a dude ever put his hands on my sisters, like I can't see myself hanging with him,
What was your
inviting him
uncle's
into my home.
what was your uncle's response to that?
I can't even remember. It didn't even matter. Whatever the response was, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Like there was no response he could have given me to have me accept what he was doing.
Just not justified at all.
Exactly. So I started looking at my uncle differently. Cause I mean, I looked at him like he was my brother growing up.
Okay.
Cause he gave me a lot of game about a lot of things. But he was also one of the men that I had growing up that showed me everything I didn't want to be.
Wow.
I mean, the ones that taught me and put me on the right path were the ones that wasn't obligated to have anything to do with me. They just didn't want to see another young black man with potential just fall to the streets and be selling drugs or doing drugs or, you know, harming people or just I could be doing so much more.
Right.
And
Wow.
you don't a lot of these young men don't see that when they in it and somebody's trying to help them and give them some knowledge and some guidance because we can see what they doing. And a lot of it is ignorant, just not gonna get you anywhere.
Right. Wow. Oof. Jeez. That's so that's so hard to hear. It's not uncommon, unfortunately, but
Mm-hmm.
it just seems like as a man, I know that y'all do require, in order to become a man, you do require a far different track than girls do, right? And
Yep.
so it's like all the examples, fortunately, you were able to see, like you said, what you didn't want to be, but it's like how much more amazing could you have, and had,
Exactly.
yeah, had somebody there for you outside of like your coaches or, possibly teachers or whatever. But just like something has to change in regards to that, to parenting and to having the men inside the home, because it's a huge factor.
And I mean, I know I've said nothing positive about, my sister's dad because I don't see him in a positive light.
And that's okay.
And, you know, I think back to like the few things that he tried to share with me and show me, like working on the cars and stuff, changing the brakes. Like I still vividly remember those things.
Hmm.
And that was cool for me for him to involve me in what he was doing.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times I think these men that have children and choose not to be involved is disappointing.
Hi, Blind Impact listeners. Thank you guys so much for continuing to listen to the show and support it as you've done. I just wanted to come on really quickly to let you know that there will be a continuation in Tomas's story for a part 2 of next week. So just stay tuned and listen in to see what it is that Tomas has to add to his already amazing story. And I definitely hope to see you guys there for part 2. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of The Blind Impact. If you like the show, please rate, subscribe, review, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. If you have a story you'd like to tell, please email me at theblindImpact@gmail.com. Or if you have a story you'd like to have read here by me, please include those details in the email or the voice message. Thank y'all, and remember, it's not always tragic.